Hello there! I'm Aurora, certified travel professional and owner and CEO of Mystical Travels. Join me today as I give you the top 10 things you must know before going on Royal Caribbean's newest ship, the Utopia of the Seas. So grab a coffee, get settled, and let's go on this magical adventure. I was just on board Royal Caribbean's newest ship, Utopia of the Seas, last week. So I've come back with lots of tips and things that you need to know before you get on board. So we're going to start with number 10, Embarkation. And I'm not going to sit there and go over all the fine details of Embarkation. This is just a gloss overview. But just an FYI, you can do a lot of the things in the app. I actually checked in about a month to 45 days prior my sailing on the app, and then the day before they sent out a health survey for you to fill out. It's just a couple questions asking if you feel sick, things like that. Very easy to do. And once they did that, they actually gave me my full-on boarding pass. For some weird reason, not quite sure why, but both me and my roommate got the express boarding. Honestly, I know you can pay for the express. It was very worth it. We just literally walked through security. We literally walked on. We didn't have to recheck in. It was a very, very simple and fast process. So once you get on, the one thing that they do tell you is you must do the monster drill. So it's basically going through your safety procedures and finding out where you're supposed to meet in case anything did happen. So we did our safety training through the app. It was just a little video that shows how to do and put on your life jacket if the situation arises. And after you watch that and then you listen to exactly what it's supposed to do, if something happens, the captain will blow the horn a certain amount of times. I believe it's 7, and there's a certain cadence to it. Then when you're actually on board, you go to wherever you're supposed to go. So we were actually on deck 7 was our cabin, and we were told to go to deck 6 behind the spa, actually in the gym. So we just went there as soon as we got on board. They saw that we watched the videos, asked if we had any questions, and that was it. It's extremely important. I know you just want to get in, you want to get settled, you want to unpack, you want to check out the whole ship, all this, but they actually will start calling your name over the intercom across the entire ship if you do not complete this. The sailing started at 4 p.m. Starting at 3 p.m., they were actually naming people over the intercom and saying that if you did not go and check in and complete this, they will not be able to leave port on time, and that you must do it. The app tells you exactly where you need to go. It's also in your stateroom. It'll tell you where to go. So just get it done and out of the way. Number 9, how to use the elevators. So you probably have seen this before. You may not have. It's not exactly everywhere. Not every cruise line actually use this. It's where the elevators are actually operated through a screen that you put in your deck before going on the elevator. So they're usually situated a couple places before each elevator doors, but not always. And you find this screen, you can just walk up to it, it wakes up, it has motion detection, and then you select which deck that you want to go on. And then the screen will tell you which elevator you will be getting on. So it'd be A through F. And then you just walk in. Inside the elevator itself, there are no other buttons except for opening and closing the doors. And if you look at the very top of the screen in the elevator, it will actually say which decks it's going to be hitting. And you'll know exactly when it's time for you to get off the elevator. Number 8, where to get free coffee and how to use those drinks machines. So if you're anything like me, you're going to need some coffee first thing in the morning, and you've paid for this cruise, and a lot of things actually are included for free in it. So definitely take advantage of that. There's a couple places for you to get free coffee first thing in the morning. So the first one would be your cafe promenade over on deck 5. Deck 5 is kind of where there's a lot of the shopping areas, but you have cafe promenade and you have a couple different choices. You have the regular coffee, which is free, and then they do also make like lattes and cappuccinos, Those are definitely add-ons, so you will have to pay for those. They are Starbucks related, even though there is an actual Starbucks location on deck 5 as well, also not included. On deck 8, there is Park Cafe. You can definitely get coffee there for free. The Windjammer is their buffet that is on deck 15. Definitely, you can get coffee there. You can get coffee over in the main dining room. And then there is the Solarium Bistro, which is on deck 15 as well, near the front of the ship. Highly recommend. It was one of my favorite places to go. Let's just say you have the drink package. Not everyone gets that. Obviously, it is an add-on. I will recommend it if you want anything that is not water or sweet tea or basically black coffee with the addition of maybe milk and half. So if you do get the drink package, you are given the special cup. And the cup itself has a sensor underneath it, so you can walk up to any Coke Freestyle machines and you just place it inside the little dispenser area. The Freestyle machine will read the sensor in your cup and know that you're eligible to actually get the products coming out of it. And then you can make your selection and it will come down. So if you do not have the drinks package, you do not have that special cup, you're not able to sit there and get that. Some drink packages also have a couple of mocktails or a few alcoholic beverages that are included as well. So just look at the drink packages that you do purchase and see what is available. Now, if you are not on the drinks package or you are on the drinks package and you want something that is not the Coke Freestyle machines, they do have your basic dispensers for water where you press a button. Same thing for ice. Some of them are censored as well. Some of the coffee locations, for example, I know the Cafe Promenade on deck 5 had a coffee sensor. So you would actually place your mug underneath where it was sitting and you push it forward and you have to get really up to the edge. FYI, I didn't do that and it took me forever one time to figure out why my coffee wasn't pouring. You just put your little hand sensor on there and you wave it and the coffee pours as long as you're having your hand in front of it, and then once you remove it, it will stop. Same thing with the half and half, same thing with the milk. Not every location does that. I know, for example, the coffee over at the Solarium Bistro, which is your typical coffee canisters, the milk, the half and half, things like that was also your typical creamer dispensers. It wasn't anything fancy. So it really just varies on where you're going and what kind of dispensers you will be getting. Number 7, how to get into the shows without reservations. So I try to do some reservations for a few shows prior to my sailing. It just wasn't working out. You can definitely go to guest services once you get on board and try to reserve, but you can also attend a lot of these shows without reservations. So what I would tell you is definitely kind of show up 45 minutes to an hour prior to the show starting. They will usually open doors for people to be seated around 45 minutes prior to the show. So definitely get in line. So the first night we did Utopia, which was their ice show, and highly recommend. We showed up about 55 minutes before the show actually started. They had a separate line if you didn't have reservations, and they had a line for if you did. And then they started letting people in who had reservations about 45 minutes prior. And then, honestly, really shortly after, they started letting us in as well, even though we did not have reservations. So my roommate and I ended up getting front row seats to Utopia, even though we didn't have reservations on the first night, and really had a blast. We were able to high five the ice skaters, and it was just a lot of fun. Definitely, if you're going to the show, bring a jacket. It does get chilly. You can definitely do that with a lot of the other shows. A lot of the other productions, they have like a musical theater over at the Royal Theater. And then, of course, they have their Aqua 80s, which is their big water show that's on the back of the ship. That one definitely more popular. Again, we showed up about an hour earlier and the line was already super long if you did not have reservations. We did manage to get in. Honestly, it's almost like the amount of reservations, it's maybe half the seating. So you usually have a pretty good shot of getting in if you're coming in that early to stand in line. They did let obviously a lot of people with reservations go in first, but we managed to get decent seats. We were to the side and kind of centered, and they just kept letting in a lot of other people. So if you're not able to get reservations through the app or online, or you didn't have time to go to guest services and get a reservation, or you just don't want to spend a lot of time in line if you see that line is really long, especially the first day, don't despair. Just show up a little bit earlier and then just wait because you'll probably get into everything that you want to see. Number 6, where can you actually eat for free? So the first place that we're going to go over is the main dining room. Now, depending on what your SeaPass say, it will tell you what deck of the main dining room that your table is located at. So just keep a watch on that, on what it says on your SeaPass. I do know that you can have a free breakfast at the main dining room, and I have definitely used it for dinner. The second place that you can have free food at is the Boardwalk Doghouse that is located on deck 6, basically across from the carousel. Just think it's a lot of different types of hot dogs. They do have different sausages, such as chicken sausage, Polish sausage, things like that. On deck 5, you will find Sorrento's Pizza. It is open really late. I ended up getting pizza around 10:30 at night one of the nights that I was there, and honestly, they go through so much of it. The pizza is at most 5 minutes old, if not less. So feel free to grab as many slices of pizza as you would want. Our next location is the Spare Tire. The Spare Tire is basically a food truck that is located on deck 15 next to the pool. It has just a couple different things, a couple different handhelds, and dessert, and it does have a freestyle Coke machine. It does have regular water, things like that as well. As mentioned before, the Cafe Promenade on deck 5 does offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So you have like a natural food case that you can walk up to and select what food is in there and just let somebody know and they will serve you right then. I know for a fact that for lunch and dinner, they did have little fruit cups. They had your snacks like your cheese and crackers, but they also had like turkey wraps, sandwiches, I believe even some kind of like burgers, things like that as well. Lots of desserts. Park Cafe is located on deck 8 and it is in the Central Park portion. It does have soups and handhelds, a lot of the same food as Cafe Promenade, a little bit more intense. It does also offer a salad bar. You don't actually make your own salad, you just let somebody know what to put on it, but they have a lot of different options. And they also have a meat carving station where they can make you their roast beef sandwich that they are known for. Now, on deck 15 in the aft or the back of the ship is the Windjammer. The Windjammer is their buffet. It does have a whole array of different types of food. If you have kids, I highly recommend. They'll probably find something in there that they really enjoy to eat. And it's buffet, so it's whatever you want. They also have hand washing stations before you enter the actual buffet lines so you can have clean hands, and they actually make sure that you do also wash your hands. El Loco Fresh is located on deck 16, and it's their Tex-Mex fast and casual kind of restaurant. They had like fajita style meats, they had tacos, they had burritos that were pre-made, they had rice and beans, they had a topping station that had guacamole, sour cream, pico de gallo, all that kind of stuff. They had chips and I believe also cheese dips. So a lot of different things. Very good, very fast, great place to go. The Solarium Bistro is located on deck 15 in the forward or front of the ship. It is located right where the solarium is. The solarium is the adults only section. However, the Solarium Bistro isn't as adult only specific. I did see a few kids. They are definitely like not rowdy. So if you're thinking, I want to go where there's not a bunch of kids running around while I'm trying to eat lunch or dinner or even breakfast, definitely try the solariums. Even with the kids, it was very quiet, very laid back. The food is pretty similar to the Windjammer. It is a little bit more upscale, just slightly, and it is buffet style. And then lastly, you have Sprinkles. Sprinkles is located on deck 15 next to Lime and Coconut, and it is their free ice cream. It is soft serve, and there is attendants that will sit there and serve your ice cream for you. You have vanilla, chocolate, and the choice of the swirl, which is my favorite. Let me know if you're interested in the more in-depth videos about the food offerings that are for free on Royal Caribbean's Utopia of the Seas. Number 5, Deck 13. So one thing you may not know, especially if you've never been on a cruise before, is there are no such thing as a Deck 13 on a cruise ship. It is superstitious. And so if you're going up and down, you may see like deck 12 and then all of a sudden you're on deck 14 or vice versa. Don't freak out. There's just no deck 13. That's all there is to it. Number 4, getting off at Nassau and what kind of ID do you need? So, with Utopia of the Seas, they do stop at Nassau in the Bahamas. Kids will only need their SeaPass. Adults do need a SeaPass and a valid government ID. So, that could be your driver's license, it could be your passport, whichever one you want. But you do need both to be able to get back on the ship. Kids definitely just need the SeaPass. Also, just an FYI, when it comes to debarkation, they do say you need a passport. If you do have a passport, honestly, you don't have to take it out and show it. They will basically just get you through the little lanes. It has a camera, it takes your picture, and it recognizes you from your passport ID. So you don't actually have to take it out. I still highly recommend that you bring your passport with you on a cruise. You never know if you have to get off because someone is sick or something happened and you need to fly home. Airlines are definitely much more strict when it comes to actually showing your physical passport. Number 3, bring money on your tour. So if you're doing a tour, especially in Nassau, it could be Royal Caribbean or it could be outside. I ended up doing Royal Caribbean's Essential Food and Sights of Nassau. They do say you should definitely bring some, but you're paying, $45 to $50. You're essentially paying for the transportation and that time. You're not really paying for the stops. So the stops where some of them was like a fort you could go visit, what they didn't tell you until you were actually on there is that you needed cash to be able to get in. Adults were $3, kids were $2. So if you're a family of 4 and you have 2 adults, 2 kids, just think that's already $10. Just an FYI, definitely bring cash. A lot of the other stops were where you can have like a really, really, really small sample, and everything else you definitely had to buy. So don't hesitate, bring money on your tours out in Nassau. Also, another thing for you to remember is that American and Bahamian dollars have the same value, so it doesn't matter. You don't have to trade your American dollars to be able to pay for something. They will accept it, and it is 100% the same value. Number 2, your SeaPass is everything while you're on this cruise. So when you get in, of course, obviously you have your app and it's going to show how you can check in. But once you actually get on board and you go to your cabin, there'll be a little envelope outside of your cabin and it's going to have your SeaPass. So Usually the SeaPasses are blue. Mine was purple, as you can see, because I ended up getting the express check-in. I'm still not quite sure how, but it's just color-coded this way. Your SeaPass has your name, it has your actual sailing, what ship, and it has your stateroom number, where you're going, if you're taking main dining, and what time, and also your assembly station, in case anything does happen. It has your account number as well. This is your go-to for everything. Bring it with you everywhere. So if you want to check out towels, you're at the pool or you're going to Perfect Day at Coco Cay, anything like that, you need your SeaPass to get towels. And then you need your SeaPass to return the towels. Then we'll make you scan in. If you're going on and off the ship, whether that is at Nassau or at Perfect Day at Coco Cay, you need your SeaPass to get off the ship, and you need your SeaPass to get back on. If you're buying anything on board, whether that is that Starbucks coffee in Cafe Promenade or anything like that, you need your SeaPass. They just let you scan it, and then they'll charge it to the room. Same thing if you're trying to buy like a shirt. I know the last day they have a lot of like end of the cruise sale, and they had like t-shirts, like two for $30. So honestly, just pick your shirt, scan your SeaPass, they'll make you sign it. So your SeaPass is your everything. It is your ID. And like I said prior, kids, when they get off to go to Nassau, all they need is their SeaPass. They do not need any other form of ID. Adults do, but your SeaPass definitely will be for both. All right, before we get to number one, a little bonus tip. So I found this area on the deck. It was in the forward section, so in the front of the ship, and it was on deck 17. It's this quiet little area. It had chairs. It was underneath some of the slides. It was a great, very quiet area to just sit down, relax, especially with a cup of coffee or a book, whatever the case may be. You could watch the sunrise while you're sailing. You could watch the ship come in to Nassau. Perfect Day at Coco Cay, either one. So I had to get to it. What I would always do is I would take the elevator up to deck 16 in the front. And then once I would get off the elevator, you would usually steer to the right. I know they'll have like a sign, they'll say like women's bathroom. So just follow that sign, go outside, and then you'll see a staircase. And so you just climb up the staircase right there to deck 17, and you can sit there. On the other side, on the left side, obviously, you actually couldn't get up there. It was one of the private lounges and seating areas for people who have suites. So you only are able to get in from that one right side of the ship. But highly recommend if you just want to chill or enjoy the sunrise. There was a couple people that definitely came up with really nice cameras and were taking pictures of the sunrise one of the days. So just be prepared for that, but honestly, it's very quiet, very chill. I absolutely loved it. And finally, our number one must tip that you need to know if you're on Royal Caribbean's Utopia of the Seas. Try to see the shows that you want early in your cruise. You just never know if they need to postpone or cancel it for any reasons. So, the first night we went to go see Utopia, the ice skating show, and we didn't have any problems. It was fun. They usually have two showings the same day. One's usually around 8:30 and the other's usually around 10:30. Just check the app. Don't take my word for the times because they may change. And then sometimes they'll have like a break so you don't see them like the next day, but then they'll have it again on day 3 or day 4. Again, check the app on when they're actually doing the shows. But for example, we did the Aqua 80s show on day 3. I know they were doing some, I believe, maybe on day 2, and they were supposed to do day 2 and day 3. So we went on day 3, and we went to the 8:30 showing. It was very windy that day, and it was kind of starting to rain. It was a sailing, like, at sea day. We were lucky. They did do the show, but a lot of the people who were supposed to go at 10:30 or had reservations, that show got canceled because it was raining hard. And I mean, we're outdoors. These performers are jumping off really, really high decks and plunging into the pool. So it just was not safe. Yeah, if it's raining or it's windy, they may have to cancel. So what happened was Royal Caribbean tried to put the show on again the very next day, which was the last night of the sailing, day 4. And it was worse. The wind was a lot more violent. They actually had to close down deck 15's pool, so all that was empty, and you were not allowed to go on deck 16 or deck 17. They had those roped off because it was just too dangerous. The wind was just too strong. So obviously, they had to cancel the Aqua show again, even though it was the postponed day. So big tip, if there is a show that you really, really want to see, try to get in first thing, first couple of days. Don't say, well, I have a showing later on. I may be able to get to it then. If it really matters to you, do it first thing. You never know if they have to postpone or cancel for any reason. And that is it. So I hope you enjoyed these top 10 things that you need to know about Utopia of the Seas. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions that I might be able to help you out, especially if it's your first cruise. It was my first cruise ever. So I just kind of took everything in. Definitely wide-eyed and loved it. It was a lot of fun. If you are scared of ships and the ocean, or you're like me and you're obsessed with the Titanic, which is not a good thing when you're on a cruise ship, don't worry. I actually was not freaked out. The boat is very, very safe. And honestly, there was definitely rocking when we had strong winds. I'm not going to lie. But wear one of those little patches, to stop you from getting seasick ahead of time. And I slept great. Apparently, I like to be rocked to sleep. So, did not know that about adult me. But yeah, so just let me know that in the comments. And if there's any other videos you want me to do on Utopia of the Seas, let me know as well. So follow me, like, and subscribe, and we'll go on our next magical adventure together.